Hello, my friends. Today we are starting off with some bad news, despite India previously saying that they would stop buying Russian oil if sanctions were introduced. Today they've changed their mind, and Trump has stated that he's not happy about it. India isn't just buying huge amounts of Russian oil, they're also reselling it on the open market for massive profits. They don't care how many people in Ukraine are dying at the hands of the Russian war machine. Because of this, I'm significantly raising the tariff India pays to the US. Thanks for paying attention to this issue. And honestly, this should have been done a long time ago. Trump has been advised to impose a 500% tariff right away, but for now, he has only applied a 25% tariff. And of course, oil imports from Russia continue as before. On top of that, China also refuses to cut ties with Russian oil. China will always secure its energy supplies in ways that align with our national interests. Pressure and correction will lead nowhere. China will firmly defend its sovereignty, security, and development interests, stated the Chinese Minister of Foreign Affairs. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent previously noted that when it comes to buying Russian oil, the Chinese take their sovereignty very seriously. So at this point, it looks like the sanctions aren't really working, but we'll wait until the 8th to know for sure. But in the US, officials are already saying they can't understand Putin.
I think, it's impossible to get in the mind of Vladimir Putin because it's sick and twisted and probably not logical. But, I'm guessing that he doesn't want to take on the most powerful military in the world, which is the United States of America.
Friends, be sure to share your thoughts about this in the comments. And more bad news is coming from the front. Today we are starting right away with the Pokrovsk direction. Reports are coming in that if Russian forces manage to break through just a bit around Rodynske, the entire Pokrovsk direction could collapse. We are already seeing that Russians are entering the city of Rodynske and also bypassing it from the side closer to Bilitske. The situation here is becoming catastrophic. Soldiers are also reporting that Russians are constantly trying to push into Pokrovsk itself. Most likely, sabotage and reconnaissance groups are still inside the city and are beginning to regroup. Overall, Russian activity remains high. They continue pressing along the entire front line, conducting around 50 assaults per day, just like before. Last night, and there was also a new message from Ukrainian forces on the Pokrovsk front. Our defenses in the Pokrovsk direction continue to weaken. When the Russians couldn't storm into Rodynske and seize key positions right away, they shifted focus slightly to the north. Now the Suvorov area is under attack toward Bilitske, but pressure around Rodynske is still extreme. I honestly don't know how this will end, but it doesn't smell good, that's for sure. The Russians are throwing everything they've got at forcing us to retreat from the Pokrovsk-Myrnograd agglomeration. They're targeting key highways and logistics hubs. They really want to avoid getting stuck in urban combat. Still, our soldiers are holding their flanks more or less and preventing a full encirclement of the region. Personally, I think the battle for this area will resemble Bakhmut. I'd love to be wrong, but that's how it's looking over the next few months. In the Novopavlivka direction, Russian forces are trying to break through across the fields near the village of Horihove. Fighting is also continuous near Dachne and Novokhatske. and they are launching assaults on Voskresenka. However, for now, all attacks are being successfully repelled and the front line remains unchanged. In the Velyka Novosilka direction, Russian troops are pushing forward near Maliivka and Zelene Pole and are assaulting Timirivka. As we can see, despite Russian claims, the village is still under Ukrainian control and fighting continues for it. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, Russian forces are not conducting new assaults for now. They are preparing instead, since they failed to quickly break through to Stepnohirsk, where the Ukrainian forces pushed them back from the outskirts. They are now pulling in more reserves for future attacks. This region is more difficult in the Kherson direction. Yesterday, Russian troops launched another strike on the bridge and completely destroyed it. Now the island is connected to Kherson only by a railway bridge. This region is critical, and Russian forces are now planning to break through onto the island in order to advance on Kherson. FPV drones are also extremely active here, trying to completely block Ukrainian logistics. Now let's move to the Kostiantynivka direction. Reports say that yesterday Russian forces tried to carry out a mechanized assault on Katerynivka. In the Kostiantynivka direction, the Russians attempted a mechanized assault on Katerynivka using 5 armored vehicles disguised as sheds, carrying out around 20 troops inside. These armored vehicles acted as armored taxis, but some were destroyed before they could drop off the infantry, and others were hit while retreating. In the end, 4 out of 5 vehicles and all the infantry were eliminated. As we can see, Russian assaults continue here, but they are not achieving any success, so the front line remains unchanged. At the same time, Russian attacks continue near Chasiv Yar. Today, there is a lot of debate over who controls the city, but friends, let's be clear, Chasiv Yar is under Russian control. They continue pressing forward, and Ukrainian forces are defending. Even if some far street is still in the gray zone and battles are happening there, that doesn't mean the city is under Ukrainian control. Unfortunately, the city is effectively lost. There are also ongoing battles today around Oleksandro Shultine, Sherbinivka, Rusin Yar, and Poltavka, but no changes have been reported in the past 24 hours. In the Kramatorsk direction, shelling continues, and the Russians are trying to break through toward the village of Markove. But again, no changes. Ukrainian forces have managed to repel all attacks on this section of the front. In the Siversk direction, Russian forces have made some gains. They managed to advance closer to Serebryanka and secure positions on the outskirts of the village. The total advance is reported to be 2 kilometers 700 meters. Additionally, the Russians took new positions across the fields beyond Grigorivka, which shows that the front line is slowly shifting in this area. Russian forces continue their attempts to push toward Siversk, and the activity in the region remains high. In the Liman direction, Russian troops are assaulting the villages of Zarychne, Shandrigolove, Serednye, and Olhivka, and trying to break through around Karpivka and Glushankove. The intensity is very high, but so far they have been unable to advance further. Ukrainian forces continue to repel all attacks in this direction. In the Borova direction, Russian forces are assaulting Nova Krugliakivka And Chernyshina, however, activity remains low and they have made no gains in this area so far. In the Kupiansk direction, Russian troops are attacking Holubivka, Petropavlivka, and attempting to break through from Stepova Novoselivka. Russia claims they are advancing on the outskirts of Kupiansk. Our troops continue to push forward in the northern part of the city. There is also progress in the settlement of Moskovka. Still, we know that there were attacks in the area recently, but according to the Ukrainian General Staff, all assaults have been repelled and the front line remains unchanged. So we'll wait for further confirmation in this direction. In the Dvorichna direction, Russian forces are attacking Kutkivka and Petroivanivka and attempting to advance toward Novovasilivka. Even though the Russians recently claimed significant gains in this area, they are currently unable to push further as their Ukrainian forces are repelling all attacks. In the Kharkiv direction, it's now confirmed that Russian forces don't control the area near Hoptivka. Yesterday, there was an attempt to break through the border, but the Ukrainian forces repelled it. We are waiting to see whether new attacks will follow in this section of the front. Fighting continues in Vovchansk, but the situation remains unchanged for now. In the Sumy direction, Russian troops are trying to break through near Andriivka and Oleksiivka. Cross-border attacks are also being recorded, and near the village of Tetkina, Russian forces are trying to breach the border and establish a foothold on Ukrainian territory. However, Ukrainian forces are successfully holding the line, and there have been no changes. And that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.